Indian partition was the division of India into India, Pakistan, and later on Bangladesh. The partition was a major historical event which sparked mass killings between the Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs. It resulted in mass migrations and refugee camps as people were forced to move from Pakistan to India and from India to Pakistan. There were mass killings, abductions, rapes, and torture. People were forcefully converted from one religion to another. There were feelings of insecurity and anxiety all around. If you were a Muslim living in a Hindu colony or a Hindu living in a Muslim colony, you would most likely be killed out of anxiety. Human emotions played a huge role in what partition became a senseless violence of senseless killings. As people left their families, their memories, and their heritage behind, it resulted in an identity crisis. Here's an interview with a person who lived through partition, who was forced into marriage and forcefully converted from her religion.
I lived in a village near Lahore. There were both Sikh and Muslim families in our village, but mostly Sikhs. Before the partition, there was no such difference, really, whether our neighbor was a Sikh or Muslim. But when the news of Hindu Muslim riots and violence started, there was chaos in our whole village. Everyone was migrating to India, and we also came not knowing the situation well. But in India, after realizing that our lives were in danger, we had heard trains full of dead bodies and killing on buses, so we were scared to travel again. My father decided against my wishes it was best for me to marry his Hindu friend's son and convert into a Hindu. Looking back, maybe it was the best decision as we were able to survive for this long. However, for me personally, converting and adopting the new identity was a struggle. I had to learn Hindu traditions like puja instead of rosa. My name was changed from Naz to Divya. It was a new environment and place. I never envisioned my children being brought up as Hindus. I still wonder what my life would be like if I had stayed back in my village. But of course, I am very grateful for everything that has happened. Those were definitely troubled times, and like me, I am sure many must have sacrificed a lot.
Forced religious conversions and abduction of women were a regular occurrence during the partition. Pinjar, a fictional novel written by Amrita Preetham, depicts a story similar to that of Divya's, where the protagonist Puro gets abducted, converted, and married to a man named Rashid. Her name is changed to Hamida, and she is forced to adopt a new identity. She struggles with her new life and longs for her past. She shows great adversity to overcome her troubles. We can see the reality of this fictional story with that of Divya's. It is estimated that during partition, 75,000 to 100,000 women were kidnapped, raped, and converted. Issues like these have created scarred memories, hatred, and deep animosities between the Hindus and Muslims. This impact can still be felt 70 years after partition. It is societal nature to be bound together by virtue of some common factors like religion, myths, or beliefs. In this event, a political promise of a homeland inhabited by same religious community gave seed to this human carnage. In fact, the wounds run so deep that even in the most recent times, these incidents have repeated themselves, dating as back as 2013. In Muzaffarnagar, a town in the state of Uttar Pradesh in India, which has a large Muslim population, had such an incident, where a Muslim boy was accused of committing a crime which he did not commit and was lynched by a Hindu mob, which became into a full-blown communal riot resulting in the death of 62 people on both sides. For many people affected by partition, identity crisis was a common and major issue to deal with. People were dislocated from their geographical and social surroundings and forced to accept newly constructed identities. Humans are social beings and thrive in familiar environments. Any disturbance to that causes a disruption, and partition resulted in just that. Like many other similar historical events, partition too has many unresolved questions pertaining to its relevance. Was it really worth it? Where did each of the affected people actually belong to before and after this event? Were the heritage and traditions of people who were living there before enough to cause a social divide between them? Who benefited from it the most?